30. I'd like to call this meeting of the Lakeville Planning Board to order Thursday, May 9th, 2019 at 7:30. I just want to step aside from the agenda and go off topic to the Fuller Shores issue, which is the water that runs down Fuller Shores as a result of groundwater coming up onto the ground. It's literally a spring that runs onto the road and runs down the road. So, we've been getting conversation back and forth. I've talked to Mr. Palucci, and I've talked to, well, I've gotten emails from somebody with your,
Myself.
Mr. Lang. That you?
Yes.
Mr. Lang. But I want to start this by telling you a little bit about private ways. Private way is a road that was in effect before zoning came into effect, before rules and regulations of the planning board. It was more than likely a dirt road. I don't know, I wasn't around at that time. There's been some improvement on the roads over time. There has been some pavement put down. I believe when I first saw, and there are many of them as well in Lakeville. There's Priscilla, there's Nelson Shore, there's what?
Pine Bluff.
Pine Bluff, yep, there's Pine Bluff. There's even what's the Hemlocks, private ways. They're all in various states of repair and disrepair. And they're where they were roads before there was probably even a planning board. The planning board really didn't have any authority to say how they were supposed to be built, maintained, or anything like that. As a matter of fact, I believe most of them were just dirt paths that went down to shorefront cottages. I'm not a history major by any means. I am not, I've heard a lot about how they were, how they came into effect, and what they are. And a private road is a road that was built not up to the town standards for the town to maintain, for the town to actually do any work on, pardon me?
To accept it.
To accept. They were too narrow. They have, slopes off to the side that aren't really permissible for town rules and regulations of the planning board or zoning. So the town never took the private roads. The town doesn't have control over the private roads. Most of the private roads have associations to take care of the private roads. And when we don't like to allow lots to be built on a private road because we don't have any control over the private road. So we deemed it one of our rules, regulations, that any lot being built on a private road would have to be over a 3-acre lot. People call that restrictive. People want to put 3 houses on 3 acres. But we're stuck to our guns and we want to maintain that we don't inundate the roads with vehicles and we don't inundate the roads with people going up and down. And it's the responsibility of the shorefront associations to maintain the road. And we also suggest when somebody comes in, they have a piece of property, they develop the property, they sell it to somebody, that the people that get into these new developments become part of the association. We're not trying to squeeze out the people in the association. We just want the people that are buying the new houses to realize that they have a financial and a monetary contribution to maintain what is there now, because it's a private road and it's not a public road. The town has no responsibility with the road. I don't know when you folks purchased the property there, and it really doesn't matter. I don't know whether the people that sold you your properties told you that this is a private road and explained to you what a private road was. I can't be concerned with that, because it's not the privy of the planning board to make sure that everyone that buys a house, we run down to the registry of deeds and say, you just bought a house on a private road. I can't do that. People have to take responsibility for their own actions, buying a house on a private road. The subdivision that went on the private road, we tried to keep it as minimal of an effect on the private road as possible. We heard rumors of a 40B subdivision going in there. We don't have control over 40B subdivisions. That's the state. The state does that. The state does that because they think that there should be, people should be able to afford houses everywhere. So if somebody wanted to go in there and put 25 house lots where there are now 3, we would have no control over that. But when Mr. Palucci came in and said he's got a proposal to go with 3 house lots on what could have been a 4 house lot subdivision, we kind of went along with it because we thought it was the best case scenario. Plus, they're each on about 4 acres of land. That's a nice thing, we also had him design the road as best, with his best practices in mind. I went up there and I took a bunch of pictures. After we had our first meeting and there was a rainstorm, and I went up there and I took the pictures of the property. The drainage on the road is keeping the water from flowing onto Fuller Shores. There's a house lot to the right-hand side of Justine Way, and the water's coming through over the surface of the ground onto Fuller Shores. I do not believe that had anything to do with his subdivision. There's also a house lot on the left-hand side of Justine's Way. Pardon me? Okay. And that water is flowing out onto Fuller Shores. I don't believe Mr. Palucci had anything to do with that. What I'm saying is, those are springs, and where the spring comes out onto the surface of the ground, that's been doing that for millenniums. And you can't hold somebody responsible for a spring that's not on his property. There's no way that he can do anything on that roadway that's gonna stop that water from coming across that land. I'm just saying that that's the way it is, as an engineering fact. So I know you folks would like to have somebody fix the road. You would like to have somebody fix the drainage. The town doesn't do that. The water was doing this to that road before this subdivision was built.
Untrue. I built the first house there. I was there since 1999, before that road was in, and that, I never had a water problem. I have a French drain in my system, in my house, to gravity French drain, never had a drop of water. The day that road was put in, that next year.
Can you come up to the podium and talk?
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Joe Abbonato. I live right at 162 Bedford Street. And that land, I have a French drain in my house that was built originally.
Yeah.
To grade.
Yeah.
Never had a water problem. As soon as that road went in, my cellar flooded out. I went down on 2 days before I was going on vacation, I went down to my basement to lock the bulkhead, and I saw 6 inches of water in my basement. Never had it for 10 years. Look at the left corner, right to the right corner of Justine's Way. that is totally soaked and wet. That was never wet like that. So you can't tell me that that's been going on forever and never had any problems like that.
You have a pipe going under Justine's Way, don't you?
Yeah.
There's a
Doesn't
pipe
work.
right here
I
that goes
know
under
it does.
Justine's
It's not
Way.
enough, it's not enough. It goes both ways. When that water's running, it trickles. Look, that pipe, I don't even think the pipe is in the right location. I don't think it's even big enough personally. It's only like a small little pipe, and half of it's filled up with rock and gravel and everything else. It's not, go look there and see the piles that are just dumped on the corner. They never even spread them out, leveled it out. There's piles of just gravel sitting there. No one took any time to get up there and grade that off properly. And I don't even know if that would even help at this point. But that water never ran in my house like that in that corner, ever. Now I have to put a sump pump in my house.
You're way down on Bedford Street?
162. I'm right there at Justin's Way.
You're talking about.
You said you're on the corner of Bedford Street.
I'm
You
sorry,
said that.
Justine's Way in Fuller Shores.
Okay.
162 Fuller Shores.
You're on the right,
62.
I'm sorry, 62.
yeah.
I'm thinking of my other.
You're on the right side, you're on the right side.
Yeah, 62 Bedford Street.
This is the
Yeah.
one
Do you see the water coming across your front
Go
yard?
there right now.
nothing designed.
Go look at it right now.
I'm sure there's water coming out from the ground. It's a spring.
This is
We
right
took the
here.
pictures of his
There is a
property.
pipe
That's
right
what
here.
you're looking at.
It doesn't-
His property.
That's my property you're looking at.
Yep. This is the other, this is the west side.
Is all moss.
Isn't that his property in the corner?
Pardon me?
Fungus.
His property is on the
Something
corner.
else.
Yeah, I know, I know.
Yeah.
This is your front yard.
Yeah.
And I took pictures of this road and there's no water coming down the road.
There is.
So there's
Today
now,
there was.
it's been going all
Yeah,
winter.
I don't understand.
It runs all winter. It's still running.
That's over here.
I sunk in up to my ankles today trying to mow my lawn. You can go there right now and see it.
So what's the gravel shoulder on
And the heavier the storm.
I,
That was all.
These are down the
Yes.
road.
no, yes.
You can't say that that water
Bob, do you want-
never changed.
Do you want to speak up?
Yeah, I'd like to just for a second. I'm just gonna talk about what I've known with Down over years. Brian's probably the only one here that remembers back in the day when the planning board used to meet in the basement by the air conditioners.
I remember.
Yeah, me too.
I've been there since.
I was there to support, okay, I meant out of us, okay, so, out of the board members. All right, I remember going there once to support Gene Bartlett for something. That basement was full of people. We had to stand on the stairs until he got up, but full of short people's complaining back then, okay? Then all along permitting this, everybody showed up, it's in minutes of all the meetings, complaining about all the water running down Fuller Shores Road. Then back 7 or 8 years ago, I think it was, I built a house at the bottom of Fuller Shores on the left, in the corner of Edgewater. I tore down that house and I built that colonial. That went to Fuller Shores Road, if you're gonna be honest, had 6 inches of ice on it with potholes. We were driving down Edgewater and going up Nelson, that road was so bad. And now all of a sudden, somehow I'm making water run uphill. And now after 15 years of having problems, now someone's trying to get me to pay for it. Before we started, that engineer came, wanted to talk to Jamie. I told him, Jamie could give him all the stuff he wanted. He said, we got a problem on the road. I hadn't built the road yet. He said they wanted to put catch basins up there, they wanted to try to fix some of the problems you had. I said, if they wanted to do that, get it okay by the planning board, but I wasn't touching the road. And now, all of a sudden, it never happened before until I did it. It's just not true.
We can see the water running. It literally runs from either side of the road.
Under the road.
Mr. Palucci, no, I mean,
Hey, okay. You gotta get up to the microphone. You gotta get up to the microphone.
yeah, gladly. I just want to address Bob here. I appreciate what you're talking about. What we've seen, what used to be like
Yeah, this is from
pretty much a trickle of
Justine's
water, you know, westbound, not eastbound. Eastbound, that water's always flowed. It goes right down that whole north side of Fuller Shores, has since I've lived there, and I've been there 35 years. But now what ends up happening is, I think you've encountered water there that nobody anticipated. There's a lot of water up there. When Mr. Stryer dug that farm porch place right across from Justine's Way, there was 4 feet of water in that hole. They pumped it for days before Andy Cruzetti could even put foundation walls in, excuse me. The problem we have now is this time of year, it's not a big deal because it's water. But in the wintertime, it ices up. And it flows so fast that it just continually crowns. And you go through it, you get a little melt, you get a pothole in the ice, it builds up and up and up. My wife broke her wrist a few years ago, in the dead of winter, and the ambulance guys didn't want to come down the road because there was so much ice. In 35 years, I've never seen it like that. And it's right on the heels of Justine's Way.
So you don't remember the winter I built that house, how thick the ice was there?
Yeah, it was a few years ago.
Yeah, before I built the road.
I guess, I
Yeah,
think.
I hadn't put a bucket in the road yet when I
I
built that
think
house.
if you ask, and I'm open to comments from anybody else in the room, that year was a lot of different snow, ice, rest, we had a lot of problems with the plow guy. He didn't have a heavy enough plow to cut it down. And I think that has more to do with the condition of that road that year than anything else. And I'm sure there's people here that will vouch for that, because it was just a terrible year for snow. So, but I just wanted to let you know that maybe it was before, but it's much worse now. It's much worse since Justine's Way. No question about it. Thank you.
But the,
Ryan Clary. I actually live right next door to the house.
no, you weren't able to get Jamie here tonight, right?
No.
You don't have anybody here from his company?
Could I ask one more question before we go? Just real quick, I'll go up there. I had the copies of all the planning board notes from the previous meetings. And I want to say conservatively 3 times, it's noted from, is it Jamie Bissonette?
Yep.
He's quoted in the thing. I believe it's you and perhaps Sylvester are said, because they're being questioned about the water.
Yeah.
It was said over and over and over, there's not gonna be any more water. If anything, it's just gonna be controlled better, it's gonna slow down, but you're not gonna get a teaspoon of water more on your property. I think they were directing
That was
comments to-
Attorney
to-
Mather, yes.
To Irving,
Pardon me?
to one of the residents, is it
Yeah.
Mike Irvine?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I just wanna point out that it was over and over and over.
Yes.
It was said about no more water. It's not gonna increase the water anywhere. That didn't happen.
And we didn't go on your property yesterday when I took pictures of the water coming off. And my engineer didn't want to trespass. But where's that sump pump running to? He said he kept seeing it come out at different flow rates when he went there. Is that what's pumping the water up there, the sump pump you just said you put in?
But my sump pump's on past Justin's Way. That's nothing to do with that. I have a French drain under there as well that's running. That was done from day one. The reason I had to put the sump pump in is because when the spring came, when you hit the spring or whatever you did over there, the water just inundated this whole way. I think you should have had more drainage on that side of the property, bigger pipes, bigger swales, whatever, to capture that water and take it under and put it in the ground somewhere, which is
Those
what
pipes
we,
had no water
which
on
is
them
what we
yesterday.
have proposed, which is what is proposed to fix it. And they have a plan already set up. Somebody's got the right plan, hopefully, to take care of it. It wasn't done right, I personally don't think. But obviously, there was no control. No one even made an inspection to see if it was done to the plan. We didn't even know, there's not even.
Yes, Jeremy did go up there and inspect it. Yes, he did. You can't go saying that.
So it's been inspected?
Yes, it's been inspected. And we can't be responsible for water that's under the ground. We have to be responsible for the water that hits the surface of the ground. That's what our purview is for the planning board. What you have up there is a spring. You know what a spring is? A spring is water that's under the ground, and it's traveling underneath the ground in a layer of gravel or whatever, and there's usually a glacial till or a clay that's an overburden that's pushing down on it, and the water will travel down until it reaches a spot where it can come out from the gravel, and it's gonna bubble up there. And that's what you have in your front yard. That's a spring.
I never had
On
it
the other
before.
side
Now I
too.
have it, yeah.
since all
Well-
the construction trucks and
Right.
everything
Absolutely.
going in and out of that road, parking in front of our house, right where that mud exists right now, it's all related. You can never tell me that that is not construction related.
I've lived in that neighborhood for 22 years, and prior to that, there was some water on the road, but I have never seen the ice that accumulates the way it accumulates now, inches of ice.
Yes.
Right in front of Justine's Way. That never happened, Mr. Palucci, before that development went in. I mean, that's just a given fact. So the spring probably was there, as you're saying, but something happened, in my opinion, in the construction that caused what's happening now.
This gentleman over here
Somebody, you talked, is it Mr. Hope?
Yeah.
Somebody, you were talking about responsibility before, somebody needs to take responsibility for that.
Well, this gentleman over here just said that there was ice because it was a spectacular year for snow and ice, where the ice was flowing down the road.
But it was that way on the entire road.
Yeah.
It wasn't just
It
there.
wasn't just that area.
Now it's just, this past winter, would you consider this past winter to be a bad winter? Anybody in this room?
No,
We had
Can't
5
even
inches
imagine
of
what
ice
it-
there.
I have
I plowed my
pictures.
driveway thing
I have
twice.
pictures if you want them.
I had to push a guy out, he got his car stuck in the rut of ice, because it was myself and Rocky Savas. He couldn't get out of the driveway, couldn't get out, I mean, that's in a year where there wasn't any snow.
What year did Mr. Palucci build the street?
Yeah, what year did you build the street? Oh, 15,
Yeah, the road was in 15, huh?
2015.
So, I mean,
But
we
is this the
really are
hearing
just talking about a few
To
years here.
approve the construction, or is this post-construction?
This is all hearings, this is the whole thing leading up to the construction. So this is the approval of the plan, the first set of
So the
meeting minutes here.
oldest meeting we have is March 23rd of 2015. I
Yeah.
think in this packet you have the minutes.
Yep. Yeah, we have had water problem right along, yep. And that was, yeah, somebody said we had water right along, it says so right on the minutes.
Well, it's always been wet up there. There's a lot of water under the ground at the top of that hill.
And I know this gentleman, and I don't think he'd lie, he came to me before we were building it and wanted to put catch basins at the end of the road to catch the water, which I said he could work with Jamie and they could try to talk. If there was no water there, he wouldn't want to put catch basins in. So, it was there. I mean, and now you're saying, and Joe was an excavator, if you hit a spring in the water, if I'm wrong, you can tell me, it's gonna go through, the water's gonna come up the least resistant, so it's gonna come up through the disturbed soil, right? On the sides of the road, it's all stone, it's all sand, it's to drain, that's the easiest place for the water to come up. So you're trying to say that when I put the road in, and I made a hole, and I hit a spring supposedly, but it didn't pop up there, and it's not going in my drainage, but somehow instead of coming up lower on the hill, in an easier way to get through the ground, I pushed it up the hill, underground through hard pan, and now it's bubbling out and coming down the street. I'm not an engineer and I don't understand drainage, but it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me.
It's coming up to our front yard.
So who are the engineers that have taken a look at this problem? I'm sorry that so have you, as a neighborhood community, had an engineer review it?
No.
No. Okay.
But Mr. Palucci has engineers that should have
Yes.
taken care of all that
Understood.
during construction.
And, yep.
Go ahead, Zink.
I've, because I'm retired and have been since before this project started, I visit a lot of these places and I go there year-round. Certainly I've seen it 4 times a year. This year I've seen it every month. And I can see that there is a small problem. I gotta tell you, it's a small problem. We have very, very many fully public streets with high traffic on them in much bigger puddles than that. It So I just want to put that a little bit, into, we do watch on how the thing is going. Now, he built himself something like 700, 800 feet of road, something like that. There's a problem in the last 30 or 40 feet. There's no problem above that. It's absolutely bone dry for the entire thing. It's a good-looking driveway. I mean, I can't call it a road because it's not really a road, but it's a doggone looking driveway. He wouldn't have built crap right in the part that's the most important where other people can see it.
Most visible.
And the whole rest of it it's a nice looking job. Now, there's a little bit, there's some extra water. I see the last two, I would have to ask an engineer would have to make an opinion of that, of how come the last two settling chambers, or the last two chambers, how were they called, the chambers, those rocky, swell rocky
The
ones?
swales.
The last one has more water in it than I would expect. I mean, I can't believe how much water there is there. I mean, I'm very surprised. I'm with you on the surprise part of it. I can't believe how much water is
the
in
lowest
that
point.
hill.
It's the lowest point.
But we're not, this guy is not, the road is not adding to it. The water is not coming down the road and running into your properties. The
It's
road,
coming up through the road.
that's something, yeah, well, that's something else.
Under
Do
the
you
road.
think it's only in the 50
live
feet that's
there.
under the road?
I walk every
Do
day.
you think
I
it's
walk.
only in the 50 feet that's under the road?
It could be, I don't know.
I've been walking around there and I see, the lot next door on both sides are mighty wet. It looks like there's a whole bunch of water underneath both houses, the house to the left and the house to the right. Well, one has a small creek running through it, is what I would call it. And, it's not on any drawing anywhere. The pipe, as long as there's any room left in the top of the pipe, you can't say the pipe's too small. I mean, if the pipe fills all the way up, I'm sure he'll change the pipe. But it's not filled all the way up. And it looked like,
What would you do if it was in the wrong place?
what?
What would you do if the pipe's in the wrong place?
If there's water running out of it, it's not in the wrong place.
Not much.
Well, I mean, I would say, but instead of taking that one out, I would add another one.
It doesn't take all the water. It trickles that way, and the rest gets backed up, and it's forcing its way through Fuller Shores. And it's breaking Fuller Shores asphalt. It cuts under there, freezes, we get frost heaves, and we've already had to repave that.
It's
We
going
just
under,
repaved that, didn't we, Ted?
it's going underneath
Yeah.
the property next door. It's going at a 45-degree angle into the property next door and goes underneath his driveway. I think he's got a piece of like 12-inch clay pipe under his driveway.
Yeah, it goes westbound over to the pit, that's about halfway down the
Okay.
road. Yeah, that was put in, the original road, the original Fuller Shores Road, that little stretch of land that's just west of Justine's Way, between those two driveways, it's like open in there, it's like a little grass area. That's where the old road was. And when Mr. Schreier came in, he excavated that whole area. That whole area, and you correct me, because I think you might have been looking at it too, there was feet of water in that whole area where they excavated the old road out and started to cut the new road in. This is long before Mr. Pucci came in. There's been a lot of water on the top of that hill since long before I was here. And that's the point, is that that water was now found and diverted somehow. I don't know how, but it needs to be redirected so it'll drain down the road and not ice the road up in the wintertime. I don't know how much money we spent this year on sand and salt. I mean, it was a fortune just to try to cut the ice down in case there was an emergency down the street and we had to get emergency vehicles down there. It was almost impassable this year. This year was not a bad winter. It was almost impassable. Especially back in January.
Well, but I'm,
Well, I don't know.
I don't even know,
This road looks like it's only 12 inches thick, which would be a perfectly proper thickness for a road like that. How deep do you think he went? I mean,
I have no idea.
Who knows?
I mean,
I don't know. That
He
water's,
didn't.
the water's up high there, so I don't know. Beats me.
Water table's at 3 feet over, I perked all that land years ago. Nothing, the water table is at 3 feet. And I know, 'cause I had to build my house up and brought in a ton of fill.
The water table in your front yard is at less than 6 inches.
Yeah.
Because
I
what you
believe
have
it.
there is water coming out on top of your yard.
Yeah.
That's
Not
not
That
3
corner-
feet.
Around that corner, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so
Definitely.
that's what a spring is.
I never had that before.
Never had it
Wasn't there
before.
before.
The,
That's what
no,
you have to
the
understand.
spring was there before. The spring had to have been there
It
before.
wasn't rooted towards my property that back then, it was, now it's going right there.
Yeah, it wasn't disturbed.
Looking at the way the road was, does it look like they altered the grading of zinc? Does it look like they altered the grading? You got the plan in front of you, I don't.
Yeah,
If they altered the grading of the road going up back? If they altered the grading of the, you know, from existing to post-construction?
if they did, it's less than a foot.
Yeah, so there's no,
But, and it looks
There's
like they
nothing they
did.
did
And
to
mind
make
you, it
that
says,
happen.
it looks like they didn't.
there's nothing they could have done to make that happen.
So what caused it?
Disagree.
I don't know.
Never was there before. Brian, I mean, I appreciate your position
Yeah.
completely. The problem is that we're now faced with tens of thousands of dollars as an association that we sure as hell can't afford. And it wasn't a bill, it wasn't a possible liability to us until that road went in.
Right.
So is it because the road went in that we now have to sit down and divide up thousands of dollars in costs to fix a problem that's affecting our road? That's supposed to be our responsibility because it's a private way? Is that what you're saying?
Basically.
I have a hard time understanding.
Private way of a private.
I mean, I didn't-
Private way.
You know, Bob builds nice places. I like what I like what you do. But he's the guy that walked away with the checks. He's the one that made the money. And we're gonna sit here and have to face this bill. I don't understand how that's fair.
I have a comment on this. I feel like when we're having these discussions, we're weighing in on facts that we really don't understand. We haven't had an engineering report, there hasn't been an engineer in front of us to explain any of this. I'm not comfortable making an assessment of whether there is a spring or whether there isn't a spring, because I'm not a specialist in that field, and I don't know that any of us are water specialists and can weigh in on this. Would the group not be, if you're talking about spending tens of thousands of dollars, would it not be wise to consult with somebody who can ascertain with certainty that that's actually what's causing it? Because when you said earlier that there was water higher on the hill before the development went in, maybe that's a fact. And we also live in a community that has a tremendous amount of water flow that's moving, we live in Lakeville, I talk about this all the time. It's very worrisome. In my own community, the water levels have gone up tremendously just in our storm drain areas. So I feel like we need to have, I feel like I would prefer to have a specialist speak to, exactly what's transpired here, rather than speculating based on what we think happened. That's my opinion anyway.
That'd be nice. We have a $150 a year budget.
Is it our cost to bear? This is a private road.
No, it's a private road.
So, how much is an engineering consult? Bob, how much do these things cost? Is it a couple $1,000s, you bring somebody in?
Different engineers to do whatever you ask them to do.
Yeah.
But, as I said earlier, I was asked to put, to work with them to put catch basins up there. Why would you put in a catch basin if there wasn't a problem?
Right.
You wouldn't. So it was there, okay? And now wherever that sump pump's going, or whatever's going out there, because that's what Jamie thought it was yesterday, but he didn't want to walk in the yard. He says that stream keeps seeming to get heavier and slower. And he thought it was a sump pump, but he didn't want to trespass from the yard. All right? Maybe shoot the sump pump into my swale on that road or something, and let it go through the pipe and down the road or something. But, there's 15 years of people, with Strider and Debbie Blaze and everybody else, and ice on the road and water problems, and that's why I kept being very clear. We made that basin twice the size as we needed to because of everybody's concern. You asked us to do that. We did all the stuff, but I was never gonna touch that road because I had known firsthand for 15, 18 years, they had a lot of problems, and I knew if I touched it, I was gonna own them.
Right.
And that's why I said, if you wanna do catch basins, talk to Jamie, talk to you guys, but I'm not touching it. I wasn't touching that road, and I'm not. I'm not gonna own that road. You know, and for anybody who thinks that, because if I did something wrong, I'm doing a project now, nobody came to meetings, now they want fences, I don't have to put them in, they can tell you it's not part of my permit, and I'm putting fences in for the people, because if they'd come and asked, I would've done it. But I didn't do that, okay, and I'm not touching that road. I said it all along, I'm not touching that road. After 18 years, I'd have to be a moron to touch that road and try to do anything to it, because then I'm gonna own it, and everyone's gonna come and say, and then you will be able to say, he did it. And I didn't do it.
So
Right.
why did
Okay.
you bother?
Huh?
Why did you even bother with the area then?
I wasn't touching the road.
Well, you obviously did because you had to make a road. But other than that, I mean, you know, if you saw it, if you went there when the weather's bad, or even, it's gonna rain this weekend, come on down.
I took pictures yesterday, it was running.
Yes.
Yesterday, every other road in Lakeville was
But it
dry.
doesn't just
And it was a
run,
stream
it runs
coming off
out
of their
into the
house,
road.
out off the road and down the street.
It
Not a
comes out
drop was
into the
coming
road.
over my berm, off my road or anywhere there. Brian went and looked at it one
It
day.
comes down, I see it.
Yeah, but not off of my property though.
Yeah, I've been there
I have
35 years, I
pictures.
can tell you what I see. We have pictures.
Where's the water coming from, if you wanna be honest?
It comes from here. Do you see that
Exactly,
big?
where's my road? Way down here. That's Justine's Way. The water's coming from way up there.
And where is that? Where's this?
That's going up towards 18,
It
there's a
runs
speed
both
bump.
ways.
That's going way up there, the water's
Yes.
coming down. It's not coming from me.
So it's
It runs
going
both
uphill.
ways.
Yeah,
Think about that.
and, yeah, think about it, water goes uphill?
It runs both ways.
Right, it goes
It
way
runs
down
both
the
There's
road.
engineers here, water run uphill? Come on, please, I'm not even gonna have that conversation.
No.
Give me a, water doesn't run uphill, it's ridiculous.
Actually, it can.
It can.
See?
So how does that happen? Pressure. And what pressure is that coming from? On the asphalt, what pressure is that coming, go up the asphalt?
There is no pressure on the asphalt.
No, but the asphalt can redirect it.
It can redirect it downhill, that's all.
Well, that's what I'm saying, it's redirecting downhill. But
This is, okay. Yes.
Can I speak, please? Okay. I just want to make a few comments, and they'll be succinct, okay?
That's on the, yeah,
Ted
that's on
Lang,
the
the
top of
President
the
of
road.
the Treasurers Association. First of all, with all due respect, our group as a whole fully and strongly disagrees with everything you said earlier in terms of the general status of things, of this situation not being there. If it wasn't there in terms of it's actually happening, then once Mr. Palucci did the work and that work was being done and then finished, that's when the problem started. How exactly it started, we don't know. And secondly, I agree with Ms. Mankowski that perhaps it has to have a professional look of some engineers who can take a look at it and see what has happened and gives a fuller and better assessment. Because I can assure you that according to Mrs. Zankowitz, if there were, say, puddles or frozen sections in the roads like we have at Fuller Shores and any of the other public roads in this town, you would have thousands of people visiting you and wanting to hang you if you didn't fix it as quickly as possible. It is a dangerous situation. It is so dangerous that
The mail truck.
You don't live there. You don't-
The mail wouldn't get delivered.
I live with bigger puddles
Okay.
They
where I
stopped
live.
delivering mail to us. They
Excuse
wouldn't
me?
come down the road, that's a
Yes,
fact.
yeah, excuse me if I may.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to make a point, and that is the fact that
yes, sorry.
there are people from the fire department and the people who have driven the ambulances who have said, this place is unsafe to drive in, and who have called it, I mean, like a public menace. I would, that's no joke, because we've got elderly people living down there, and God forbid, if there were ever any kind of a need during the kind of weather we've had this past year, I wouldn't say the weather wasn't that bad, but the road conditions, it's very likely that they could not have gotten down to get those people and gotten back out safely. There's no need for that. We want to get the problem solved.
If we can go out and find a way to hire an engineer to do the work that Mrs. Mankowski suggested and bring it back here, what's the next step?
Well, I
That's
think-
what we'd like to know. What's the next step?
I mean, to me, I think that when you have a professional opinion, now we know with some certainty. If that opinion was challenged by, another engineer, then they have a discussion. But at least you have professionals that are weighing in on the source of the water. I'm very uncomfortable because I don't know how water works, and we talk about a spring. How can we make an assessment as to whether it's one person's responsibility or another's without understanding the science behind the problem? But I think if they give us an assessment and they say, that there potentially could be, that the fact that this area was disturbed could be a factor. I'll tell you, we had some trees cut down in our neighborhood. The amount of water that has pooled on the street near that storm drain as a result of the loss of those trees is absolutely unbelievable. I would have never thought that cutting down a few trees would have a significant impact, but I know nothing about water. So, or roads, or road construction. So these, I think these are important things to consider.
Well, obviously, there are a few people on the board who have difficulty believing what all of the residents in our association have experienced.
I'm in the
Yeah.
business, I've been doing it for 45 years. I'm an engineer. I know how it works. I know the science of water. I know the science of soils. I know what a spring is. If you talk to an engineer, let me know when you're gonna bring them in. I'm gonna talk to the consulting engineer for the town, for the planning board, and I'm gonna have a conversation with him about what his thoughts are, and then we'll see what happens.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
already have a consultant engineer? They're not gonna look at our thing?
Pardon me?
Podium and name.
Podium, please?
I'm Gwen Lang, and I'm just interested, you already have a consulting engineer. So could they help us out?
We have a
Or am I
consulting,
naive?
we have a consulting engineer, we don't have a budget.
So if
I
we,
don't have a budget. I don't have any money to pay the guy.
He's not a town employee.
He's not a town employee. He works for us if we have a developer come in. Very similar to what our highway surveyor did in this project.
And usually
He-
the developer pays their tab.
Yeah. What our highway
So-
surveyor did on this project here was he reviewed the plans, he reviewed the drawings,
okay, thank you.
okay? We didn't have it go to the consulting engineer.
So
for this
you wanted,
project.
if we hire an engineer, you wanted your consulting engineer and that consulting engineer to work together?
I want them to have a conversation, yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. I just needed clarification.
Yep. And that way, yes.
With you as well.
Because I'm not going to, have an engineer coming in here from you folks and not have my ducks in a row. I don't want to waste time. Because if we have your guy come in here and he tells us what he thinks, and then I get my guy to come in here and he tells us what he thinks, if we can just put them together, it would work. So if you let me know.
But as a, well, I just
I
don't
just say
understand
spend
why
the
you
money
can't
and
consult a little bit
spend the
with
money
us.
and just design something to fix it.
Well,
Why
think-
waste the money on that? It's just crazy, you're spending money that you know needs to be fixed. We can fight about who's gotta fix it
Well-
later.
Well, it sounds like somebody in the neighborhood
I'm
said
just
they
saying-
wanted to fix
I'm
it
saying-
before this
I'm
happened.
saying we could fight about it before it's,
No, it sounds like somebody,
you know what's happening. You know what's
there's
happening.
a gentleman over here that said that we should put catch basins in before Mr. Palucci built his,
I can, listen, when Bob first came, the first meeting we had, I had no problem with any construction going on back then. I told him that the first day. And he got up there and said, we talked about the water problems and what was gonna happen, and he's told us that we shouldn't have anything to worry about, that he would work with us. That was right out of his mouth, that's what he told us. So we, and that's what he said, and that's what we trusted, he would work with us. We're here to say, work with us. Maybe we can sit down and work something out, rather than spend all this money to do a survey, and I know what this stuff costs. You might as well, we already know a budget, what we think, we've had our in-house engineer, so to speak, has something designed, I think we already have a plan, Ted, don't we? Don't we have an engineered plan of what we feel?
We've got the previous plans that were put in.
Well, we have an estimate of the cost that it's gonna take care of the water problem.
You know, we're looking at 30, we're
Basically,
thinking 30, we got the
French
price of
drains
$30,000. I mean, Mike,
French
we're gonna
drain?
spend-
French drains,
A sub-drain.
sub-drain, that will go down to our pipes further down the road,
Yeah.
down Fuller Shores.
Across all the
So
fronts
it
of
won't
the,
go onto the road.
across the fronts
But
of the
it's
lots on
picking
that
up all
side.
the road that's coming right at the beginning of Jessam's Way, basically.
What about the other side?
But that's a $30,000 job.
Oh, sure, what about the other side? Because it comes up on both sides of Justine's Way.
Yeah, well, on both sides, yeah. Yeah, we'd be taking care of both sides and bringing it down the hill, down Fuller Shores.
Westbound.
And we were also maybe thinking about hooking it up maybe the other way towards Bedford Street to the other catch basin, but it's kind of going uphill a little bit.
Right. Oh, yeah.
It does that.
Well, okay, well, if
How
you
far
talk
down?
to your, pardon me?
How far west?
I don't care, it's trivial, it's not even worth talking about. You have your engineer come in, and I'm gonna talk to my engineer, to the town engineer, and I'm gonna ask him if it's feasible to build a road to divert the water that would cause this much grief and aggravation. I'm gonna give him that set of plans. That's what I'm gonna do, because, I don't see it. Being in the business for so long, I don't see it.
Could you say that again, please?
I want to give the engineer that works for the town a copy of that plan, and I'm going to tell him, these folks think that building this road caused water to be diverted on either side and to come out as a spring onto Fuller Shores Road. What do you think?
That would be useful.
Yes, it would. It's gonna be useful for me,
Well, here's my concern.
but you might, what?
Well, I'm just at the top, we had mentioned earlier that at the top of the hill, there was water coming out of there before Mr. Palucci ever came.
Yep.
Right?
Long, long ago.
Right, so, to me, this is, is this a naturally occurring something that's changed?
Possibly a naturally
Possibly
occurring pre-existing condition.
Which is why I think we've got to have professional opinions weighing in.
That's why
Right?
I'm getting the
I mean,
engineer, yeah.
And that you should as well, so that you guys have some evidence to support the position, that you are thinking right now. Can't imagine that it could be that expensive, maybe a couple, I don't know, I really don't know.
Well, for the engineer,
Yeah.
a couple grand.
That's what I'm thinking, $2,000. Money well spent.
Maybe because the trees were removed, and so all the water that was in the forest, so to speak, came forward to Fuller Shores. And that's all we want fixed. I was the one in the ambulance, and let me tell you, with a broken wrist trying to go over that, it was awful. And I wouldn't wish that on anybody. So I would hope that we could come to some sort of agreement and get things fixed, so that we don't all go broke yet.
Does Michael Irving still live there?
Yep.
Is he here tonight?
No, you couldn't make it. Short notice on the meeting. We couldn't.
Who's that, Jamie?
Yeah.
No, Mike Irving.
No, the residents in the 2015.
His residence, as you go down Fuller Shores Road, if you go down, it kind of straightens out, then it goes into an S curve. As you passing in through that S curve westbound, on the right-hand side, you'll find a big open pit. And that pit collects the water that runs off and goes down through that culvert that's Stryer installed underneath all those front yards. The problem and I'm speaking for Michael, and I'm not sure if it's 100%, but what happens when that tops out in that collection pit, it flows all the way through his yard. That's happened probably, again, in my experience only, since that house is in there, a couple of times. Maybe 3 times, that I can remember.
Just
But it also collects, when the water table gets up that high in that pit, it also collects on the south side of Fuller Shores Road. Don't know how it gets there, unless it just goes underneath.
There's a pipe under the roof.
Was there a pipe over there? So, I mean, there's a lot, that's the point of where all this is going to. And,
Okay, so that's great. So if you guys talk to your engineer, let me know when you're gonna be able to bring him, or
Yes,
once
we will.
he has a discussion with you, and I'm gonna talk to our engineer, very soon, okay?
Okay.
And
Yes.
how much notice do we get before the meetings? Because this was like just sprung like, oh, we're having a meeting.
Well, I got an email, said, we're gonna have a meeting, and I said, yeah, we're gonna have a meeting, and I told Kathy, put us on the agenda.
48 hours.
In the future, Mr.
You're not. What?
In the future, Mr. Hope, would it be possible for us to have at least a 7-day notice? It really was unfair to a lot of our residents, they just couldn't make it.
No, you just whacked me with the email this morning, and I was like.
No, I had emailed before.
Oh, I know you had, and I had also asked for minutes to the meetings before, and I never got them, so I was gonna come in without the minutes of the meetings, because I didn't have any information.
No, I'm just saying, I don't mind coming to a meeting, I sure notice, I'm just saying it isn't fair to the association as a whole,
Right.
because there are a number of people who can't make it on that short notice, and to my knowledge, usually when they have meetings of this sort, at least a 7-day notice is provided.
Okay, we'll try to do it in 14 days from now.
Fine, Jeff,
All right.
So that
thank you.
would be the next meeting, which is the end of the month. Rita has something to say.
Yes,
Just to
Rita.
say, for all the residents, you can go on the town's website and sign up, so whenever the planning board schedules their agenda, you'll automatically get an email that they've posted their agenda, and you can look to see.
as long as it's added to the agenda this way.
Oh, this isn't on the agenda?
No.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
I know, I've been talking to Bob.
The next one, the next one,
Yeah, if you're gonna schedule it, because Kathy schedules the meetings. You only need 48 hours notice to post the agenda, but Kathy's good about getting it out on Monday.
We have this little thing down at the bottom of our agenda, it says, please be aware that.
Right, just so you know, because that way you'll make sure that it's.
Thank you.
Yes.
I guess what I'm thinking as I'm listening to all of this, is that one of the things that the Full Shores people were hoping, at least from when I'm listening to them, is that they would hope that Mr. Palucci would, it's probably a joint effort, and we're not asking him to pay everything, we haven't even gotten that far. What we're saying is, let's look at this together.
Exactly.
And I think what's disappointing tonight
You just walked out.
is that he walked out and he says, not my problem. And I think that's what's very concerning. So I would hope,
Yeah.
to be fair to the residents here who are upset, that he would have enough respect for us, that he would at least come to the meetings and offer to say, well, maybe we can switch things around a little bit. I mean, if we have to switch things around a little bit, he can.
No, I understand, and I know
So
why he left.
I'm just making
No.
it public
Oh,
that I feel.
Oh, yeah, I know why he left, and,
We haven't established any responsibility. I just want to be very clear about that. I have not convinced of any responsibility or source issue. So until we've gotten that cleared up,
But if we do, we're
but once
expecting
we
some
do,
cooperation.
and I have to say, in my experience of working with him, he's been very amicable and willing to work for the town, but I also can appreciate not wanting to take responsibility if there's something that you don't know, that you believe is for certain is not your responsibility. That's why I think an engineer's opinion would.
but he said he would have helped do the work before if people wanted to do the work, if people wanted to get the work done.
I just wanted to make a statement, we don't have to argue about it. Thank you.
No, I'm not arguing. I'm telling you what he said.
I hear it.
Okay, all right, good. So we'll continue this hopefully on the 30th.
The next meeting's on the 30th, so we can get it on the agenda for the 30th.
That's if I can find an engineer.
And if not, then we'll put it on.
Thank you.
Okay, just about an hour. It's a public hearing, I want to open the public hearing to amend the zoning bylaw, section 8.7, temporary licenses for mobile home storage box trailers, to designate the building commissioner as license authority for such uses and make other administrative changes. Okay. What are the other administrative changes? Do we have them here?
I've read through it, I don't have any objection to changing it from, basically, it's the Board of Selectmen that's being removed and replaced with building commissioner in terms of issuing temporary licenses for mobile homes.
Okay.
And Brian, the zoning board review advisory committee took Nate's advice. He just feels this streamlines the process. This is for when people get displaced by fire.
Oh, yeah.
And
I
instead of
remember
having,
writing the bylaw.
instead of having to be scheduled for a next selectmen's
Right,
meeting, he
right.
can grant them an immediate permit.
Absolutely. I think it's a great idea.
Easy.
We've had a couple
Three
of those.
times, if I may, Brian, 3 times a house burned. And the selectmen had met that night. And
Yeah.
they come in the next day and it's,
We don't have that many fires, so that's.
I know, so all 3 times.
Knock on wood.
Right.
Never failed.
They could have stopped having meetings. Maybe the house will stop burning down. All right, so, do we have a motion?
Motion to close the hearing unless there's any further discussion.
Do we want to represent, do we want to have a motion to represent this with the town?
Yep.
Yes.
Why don't you just, you're gonna make a motion so you can make a recommendation at town meeting, so.
That's what I wanna do.
Move to
Yeah.
recommend this. to
But-
town.
I recommend this for
Jonathan, don't
town
they have to
meeting.
close the hearing first? No?
No, it's not that, I mean, first of all, you got other bylaws to review, you don't need to
Okay.
close anything down.
Okay.
So you can go one by one and make a
Great.
motion to recommend.
Okay,
Yeah, we got a motion on the floor.
I'll second that.
There we go. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, second public hearing, to amend the zoning bylaw, section 6.7, site plan review, subsection 6.7.3, procedure, residential, to increase the threshold of earth disturbance that triggers the need for a site plan review. Okay.
Do you want me to speak to that, Peter, or do you?
I can if you'd like to. Go
Okay,
ahead, though.
Yeah, but it's currently, it's 3,000 square feet of cubic, is it cubic?
Square feet.
Square feet of land disturbance. And we're not sure if that, we had to put that whole, for stormwater management.
Yep.
And we've just updated our stormwater plan. And in there, it's usually an acre of land. So Nate's not sure if maybe it was 30,000 square feet to begin with and somebody left a 0 off. But I don't make those mistakes on the warrant. But it's just, with the EPA, it's the acre of land. So it's just changing it from 3,000 square feet to 43,560.
To be consistent with EPA regulations.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we forward this unless there's discussion to town meeting.
I'd like to discuss.
You'd like to discuss?
Yep.
Please.
Go for it.
It's just for the benefit of the camera, basically. There will be some surprises in town as we start doing this process, because it actually means there's going to be, quite a few site plan reviews. Because in a community with, 70,000 square foot lot, it's very, very easy to disturb 43,000 square feet. So there's likely to be quite a few of them. Now, I know they say, well, you're increasing it. The 3,000 square feet of ground, that was the old rule, was so ridiculous that we didn't apply the rule. We just ignored the rule entirely and just never did any of the site plan reviews that were required of us to do. And now that it's possible to do them, there isn't any way that a volunteer committee could do 3,000 square foot site plan reviews.
Your vegetable garden, you know.
Yeah, it's just silly. So now that it's doable. The other thing, what this is also going to do, is there's something that's going on now that we were in the middle of a lull for quite a while. There was quite a construction lull. And now we're, I guess, sort of a boom. What's happening is we have a whole bunch of Form As that are getting driveways onto reasonable-sized streets. Streets that bear quite a bit of traffic, like Peter was mentioning about, on School Street and County Street and stuff like that, where we really should be involved in how we get this driveway onto the road. Now, we're not responsible for curb cuts, because it's an existing road, and the state gives that authority to the Board of Selectmen. But how to get across the ditch, and because all these people that were in here for a small example of what happens all the time in a whole bunch of neighborhoods, where if you get a driveway going downhill onto a crossroad, well, there's a bunch of water that flows out, and we just spent an hour talking about what happened at that joint. Well, we're gonna have to do that. We're gonna have that talk ahead of time during this site plan review that we're voting on right this moment. Thank you.
Thank you.
What's said is exactly accurate. That's exactly, and I actually
Peter
think
brought it up first.
I actually think it'll be positive, that we'll actually have the chance to chime in on a lot when it needs to be, when we need to do something about it, Not prevent them from building on it, but merely just put our 2 cents in and get it corrected right away, and that's the cheapest time to do it, so.
Okay. So there was a motion, I think,
And now
present this.
Yeah, make it to a motion to recommend approval, just so it's clear at town meeting what you're doing.
I just want to go back, you had made that recommendation.
Motion to recommend approval.
And I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nicely put, Zink, very good.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, the next one is the public hearing to amend the, you guys,
Sorry.
got each other in back?
A little bit.
Okay. Amend the zoning bylaw, section 2.0 definitions in section 6.4.6 specific uses by special permit, and update regulatory citations, combine reviews into single marijuana uses section, and designate the zoning board of appeals as the special permit granting authority. Does anyone have anything to say on this?
I have a question.
Yes.
Let's see, we didn't draft this as a planning board. This was drafted by, who drafted this?
Town council.
But who
Katie
gave it
Loffman.
to town council?
The Board of Selectmen requested.
The Board of Selectmen, this is the Board of Selectmen's motion. And it's drafted by Kate. But it's not our motion.
And I'll just mention, the first two you read, Brian, are on the annual town meeting. This one is going to be on the special.
In the fall.
No, on June 3rd at 6:30, we have the special. So this is article.
So this will actually be ahead of everything else, this will be.
The annual. We have 5 articles on the special.
Okay.
Do you know why the Board of Selectmen wanted to make this change? What was their reasoning?
Well, when, is that okay if I speak to it, Brian? Yeah. Initially, medical marijuana was approved first, and we had the bylaw to deal with medical. And at the time, it fell under the regulation of the Department of Public Health of the state. And then in the meantime, recreational was approved, and that Department of Public Health now, it falls under the Cannabis Control Commission. So part of what we refer to a lot of the medical, we have CMR numbers, those have all changed.
Right.
And then it was advised that we put it all, combine the two, medical under marijuana uses, and to update with all the laws that have changed.
So, just out of curiosity, does anybody else remember when this?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I have a question after you.
No, after you.
Oh,
What's your question?
oh, okay. I just have a couple of things to check. This one, I see that the special, or I've read it a couple of times, but the special permit got, the special permit per se is switched from.
Oh, yeah, the granting authority, yeah.
The permit granting authority for this particular special permit will be the zoning board of appeals. We sent a notice to all the individual members of the zoning board of appeals, and not a one of them is here. We told them,
Do you want me to speak to that?
please.
I did send a message to them, and I had two responses I wanted to read into the record. The first one was from Chris Carmichael. It's an email to me. I have no suggested changes. I will not be able to attend. Thank you, Chris. And the other one was from Joe Urbanski, also an email. Hi Kathy, Dawn, I will not be able to attend. I have no issues with this as it is written. That's the responses I received back.
Okay.
And part of the reason too is right now with the, applicants are going to two different boards. And where the zoning board of appeals handles almost all special permits, the selectmen thought it would, to streamline the process, to send all applicants to one board.
It was,
So right now, you have a copy of this? I do. It seems to say that the special permit goes to the zoning board of appeals. Now, on buildings that, like, if they were gonna propose a building, like one or two of them that's coming up, are gonna be buildings that are coming out of the ground. When I say coming out of the ground, I mean it will be a brand new building on a blank pad. There would be a site plan review for that. That seems to still be, no one took that site plan review away from the planning board.
No, right.
So that.
It'll still, it will still come.
I want to note that the town council is nodding his head
Yeah.
He is
in a
certainly
vertical
nodding his
way.
head. That's correct. This amendment does not change site plan review in any way.
Okay, even though
No, Zink said.
there's a note here that says detailed site plans, the detailed site plans are part of the special permit, but they are just, like what we've been doing so far, is we're using the same old plans from the old site plan in the special permit plan. There aren't like two different kinds of site plans. So this all makes sense, but the planning board still does site plan review, and now the zoning board of appeals will do the special permit. Everyone's
And
with
they'll
that.
want the recommendation from the planning.
To Zink's
Yep.
point, let's say it's not a new construction and it's a remodel, and they are changing things like lot coverage and parking lots and entrances and exits, and that would still fall under our site plan review, is that correct?
Sure, if
Yeah.
it qualifies, it meets the.
If it's whether it's a warehouse, a factory, or anything.
Because the medical had to come back, remember when they changed?
I just did,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
How about change of use, period? Because you're gonna be getting a different volume of vehicles.
Right.
That would trigger that.
Yeah, well, it only triggers it if somebody deems it to be triggered. You know, people only get triggered by what they want to get triggered by.
use doesn't, right, wouldn't necessarily
Right.
parking lot.
Yeah, we've had change of use in buildings in town that we never get notified on.
But on that medical
Because
All
building,
the
you
time.
did.
I'm talking
Right.
about any kind of use, you know, and we don't get notified on, you know? So,
I don't know about that.
I don't either. But, you know, it's funny when you're coming down the road and they people, when you're talking to your friends and they say, hey, why'd you guys allow that? I didn't know anything about it. So, and that clears me of it anyway. What were you gonna say?
I just wanted to know what the history was because, you know, when this was originally set up, there was a reason why it was assigned to the planning board. And I don't know what the history was and why it was assigned, why the decision was to not have put it with ZBA in the very beginning. I mean, I don't want to keep putting you on the spot, but if anybody knows why that is, was it a separation of powers kind of thing, where we're looking at it like we wanted to have more boards looking at things? I don't know what the rationale was behind having that be on a separate track. No, I don't know.
Rita, not to change the subject, but it's on the same subject, kind of. Is there any thought to the process that by going to the ZBA, you said streamline the process, however, the ZBA meets once a month, and we meet twice a month, and I'm not advocating that we keep it, I'm merely just, picking holes at this.
But they meet, there's been a few times this year, they'll meet more than
Okay.
once a month,
And
absolutely.
so, I know that we heard the emails, but the chairman doesn't feel as though this is going to, basically inundate them. I mean, it's a lot.
No, I
It was a
think
lot
they've
for us,
actually been
for
getting
2
out
straight
earlier
months.
than the planning board lately.
Did you say that he felt it would
What's
not?
that?
The
inundate
ZBA's
people?
been getting
I'm
out
asking
earlier
if
than
he-
the
if
plan,
he-
you
if he
guys have
even
been meeting
has
much
said-
later than the ZBA has.
Because these things have been taking a lot longer.
And other issues that come before the board.
Yeah, I mean, your first comment, I think that's all I needed to hear.
Yeah.
The streamlining process, I made my point at the zoning board review advisory committee that I'm really not concerned about streamlining.
But even just the findings, the
Right.
4 findings, this is, like Kathy will say, they do the list of findings,
That's what they're doing.
that's what they do.
Yeah. No,
That's what they're expert at.
Well, when we went through the first process, we were building the road, right? I mean, that's what we hadn't had another marijuana facility coming through, and we hadn't had this sort of thing happen. And Lorraine actually did a great job, along with other
Yeah.
people, in putting together that sort of checklist. Now we've gone through our first one. It was a little clunky, but that's because it was new. This is a totally new industry in town. There's a lot of things to be considered. I feel like we're going to, lose a little bit of knowledge transferring it over, although I'm sure that the ZBA, has lots of knowledge, and they haven't done one of these yet. I guess they've done medical.
And they do write decisions all the time,
Yeah, they do write decisions all the time.
And they pass on the bigger ones, they have town council, they pretty much draft the decision and then have town council review it. It's like what they do.
Right, it's
And I guess the selectmen just weren't, because they thought maybe the Board of Selectmen would be the special permit granting authority, because we actually are on tattoo parlors, believe it or not. So they tossed around, and where the planning board is the 40R granting authority.
Well,
I think the other thing is, what happens to these meetings, especially these early on meetings, is if you show up to the meeting and if you bring town council along with you, the meetings always go better. That's part of it.
And I just come along because
you help by
I've
coming
been
with the council.
in the process, and I know there's always questions, and if someone's not here to answer them, if no one was here, I just,
But that has.
We appreciate
I'm in the
that has
office
something to do with
anyways
it
at
when you
this
change-
time.
When you switch over.
Definitely.
What?
I agree with Zink. When you switch over,
Yeah.
those 2 things that he just mentioned should go with them.
Yeah.
It's really, there was a lot to that, so that's all I'll say about this.
They're just, the applicants just aren't used to this stuff at all. I mean, they just don't.
none of us are.
And they'd gone
They don't like
through
it.
the process with, although the medical's different than the retail, but, the site plan review is still with the planning board.
Right on, Mr. Chairman, if I may, on that, on that point. I did notice in here that it used to say, or does say now, shall require a special permit and site plan approval from the planning board. It's going to be changed to shall require a special permit from the zoning board of appeals. You'll notice the words and site plan approval is stricken. So if the question comes up, the point of that is not to basically remove these from site plan approval, it's to remove, because it's changing to a different board, those words are taken out. But if this project comes in and requires site plan approval, it has to get site plan approval. Taking those words out does not strip the planning board of its site plan approval authority. It's just to make sure that it doesn't transfer that authority to the ZBA once they get the special permit process.
Well, it depends on how it goes.
Exactly.
If someone says, gee, do I have to get a site plan review? Well, it doesn't say we have to. Okay, so do you guess you don't have to?
No, you read the site plan approval bylaw.
Yeah, well, sometimes.
Yeah, you didn't take that out.
No.
That didn't get deleted.
We've had town meetings where everything hasn't gone into the book, so.
If you ask me, let's just put it this way, if the project comes in and it triggers site plan review,
Right.
you get site plan review.
Right.
The fact that the bylaw is silent somewhere else about it
Right.
is not going to control.
Right. Right.
Sounds good.
That's the way to put it.
A motion, Brian?
Go for it.
A motion to forward this,
For approval.
for approval at town meeting? Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's nay. I'm a nay. Sorry.
That's fine.
Yeah, I'll just abstain.
And I'll abstain. I don't think that passes now, does it?
No, you need
Yeah,
three.
no, it does.
It passes because an abstention is
Count.
acceptance.
Oh, okay.
Well, actually,
think
abstention
that's-
doesn't count, it's a majority of those voting. You got essentially 3 votes, 2-1.
Oh, oh, that's fine.
Yep.
Yeah. You get 2 yes votes, 1 no.
Yep.
Majority of those voting.
Okay.
Okay.
I thought it was gonna be a no, but I'm not gonna change my vote now.
But you get, so for the report to the town meeting, you can report the vote.
Oh, I will.
The planning board voted 5 members, it was 2 in favor, 1 opposed, 2 abstentions.
Oh, I will. Because when I'm at town meeting, I'm talking for myself. When I'm here, I'm talking for the planning board. 'Cause, you know, it's the way it goes. Okay, number 4 on the, yes.
No, I,
Oh, yes. I'd like to close the public hearing.
Second? Or do you need a?
No,
is that a
you need a
motion?
motion.
Motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
He's not here tonight.
so Jamie's not here tonight, so I can
You're
just.
standing?
Oh, you are, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You look like Jamie.
Why didn't you speak up earlier? I knew there
Oh,
was
he
an
didn't wanna
engineer
walk
though.
into it.
Well, it was Prime. Jamie did it while he was at Prime. Okay, Form A.
I really didn't want to.
Comments on
No,
that.
I
I
appreciate
apologize
that.
for not getting involved, but I worked for Prime years ago too, but I didn't know anything about this project. So,
Fair enough.
That's okay.
You gotta be careful what you walk into.
yeah, exactly.
We had one interesting Form A in the last year, and that was this one, which now we're gonna.
Yeah. I was giving Bob some more support there.
Oh, this one.
So, can I ask a question before we get started looking at this? This land is still owned in chapter 61, right? It is still?
I can,
I can't.
I can discuss it.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
You can?
I can.
Okay. Because I'm just wondering what, has the decision been made as to whether or not this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the Board of Selectmen decided that the town is not interested in in taking first refusal on this property. On just this property on this side of the street.
Okay.
And I saw it at two separate meetings of the Board of Selectmen, and plus we have it on this, from the Middleborough Gazette,
Okay.
explaining the same thing. And this doesn't affect the other side at all.
Right.
Because the other side now is definitely still in 61A,
Right,
the industrial side.
right.
So, not to, I hear your, what the selectmen plan on, they,
They gave up the first
so is
refusal.
this signed off, it's released?
Yes, they signed off on it, yes.
All
They
taxes
released
have
it.
been-
They voted.
All taxes have been squared away as
No.
far as?
No.
Oh, no.
I believe they would vote to release it, and then they would go into a development situation, and then as the lots were sold off, they would then get their tax money.
Lot by lot?
I don't know.
I don't know. The
That's
guy-
up to them.
I'm sure the guy has to sell at least one lot to pay the bill.
Yeah.
To get out of 61A.
I don't know.
Yes,
Why would you say that? I don't know. People.
Because I know what the bill is.
Well, at least one, you know? At least 200,000.
Oh, is that right? I don't know.
I know what the bill is, but I'm
Okay.
not supposed to know it on TV.
No, I don't, I didn't ask you to release, I'm merely just curious, okay.
Yeah.
But they're, this side of the street is available for development.
I would entertain a motion, because I think it's where it's approval not required. And we have the correct frontage, it looks like.
Yeah.
We have adequate area, it looks like.
No wetlands.
No
Yeah,
wetlands,
Completely.
high and dry. Can look at it some more if you want. You can take it home with you. You can look at it some more if you want.
I move we
sign it.
certify it.
I would second the next motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 What was the motion?
We certify it. We sign it.
Certify it as an A and R.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is it the 9th?
Today is the 9th.
5/9.
Is that right?
Okay.
I made sure that,
I'm gonna be,
I believe you, I just didn't
5/9.
want to,
put it
And I'll
put the
sign
cart
on
in front of
3.
the horse there again.
no, well, by the
Can we
way,
date 'em
we
all?
got blamed. We
Sure.
were blamed for letting the solar field go.
Excuse me, could I
without
just ask if you
having
do sign them
checked
tonight? or
Yeah,
if
we're
you'll-
signing
So
them.
in the
A
future,
process of, yep.
we actually have to check this on other ones,
Does it need to be a blue pen?
because it was,
Blue or black?
Sure.
yeah, it was apparently our fault that the thing got done.
It's not a bad thing being the back.
I know, huh?
Well, if I
You
remember
like
right.
it. I
Come
think
on,
I
let's
like
go,
it.
let's go, come on.
If I remember right.
like the
Gotta be in the
The
third
guy
period
was-
by now, no?
The guy was crying that he only had 4 days left, where it had to get signed within 4 days, or the project was never gonna happen.
Okay,
And we signed it,
Do you want to sign this?
and we paid for it.
is that for,
Oh, let me, bang all the things right now, I'll send them back.
The other ones.
yeah,
Right.
that's all you want is Mylar, right? Yeah,
that's ours,
yeah.
Oh, really?
Sure.
Oh, sorry,
mind,
we're out
thank
doing the other ones.
One-
How do you want this folded?
My, no,
That's right, they folded wrong.
so you have one that's, an A and R as well?
Yes, I do.
Very nice.
I already forgot.
Were you here for the first section of the meeting?
Mine's really messy on this one.
Yeah. What's that?
Very messy on this one. The first pen didn't work, but that worked better.
But only sometimes.
That's true.
I want a nice yellow jacket, badge on it that says Puddle Police.
Puddle Police?
Puddle Police.
Nice.
Oh, God. That's fun.
You know it's gonna be a stressful night.
I went-
Shows up with 2 packages of candy.
Bring extra.
I usually have my second week's coffee.
Oh, is that what it is? Just in case it gets
have a
tense?
coat on.
Perfect example of one.
Is that me? Yep.
Is that land court?
Van Court, no? It's not that confusing.
Well, no, that green paving. Why did they do that? Usually that's, means it's going to land court.
Did I put 4?
4-9.
Can you change that to 5? Sorry. Durr.
Oh,
Can you?
Yep.
I wonder why it would go into land court.
Maybe it is part of a land court parcel. I don't know.
It could be.
Yep.
Maybe because it's coming out of 628? No? That wouldn't be an issue?
That's Mark down
Okay.
Zinc. Zinc.
Thank you very much. You're welcome. Thanks.
Sorry about the date. No problem. 2 for zinc.
Is there one more? Only 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. I think Peter has his folded up in front of him. Okay. Plan of land at 105 County Street, Lakeville, Massachusetts. South Coast redevelopment.
Oh, I saw the for sale and sold signs?
Yeah.
That's pretty much what happens.
Oh, is that
That's what
right?
happens
Yeah.
now.
Up and down.
And this, not to,
No.
but I know that there's like a back way in there, right, like a cut tree path or something?
Yeah, that is, well, you want to start? Before I
Go right ahead.
Go right ahead. Jeff Youngquist, Outback Engineering. This little cut thing in the back, that's referred on a couple of plans. It's referred to as Old County Road, but there is no description of it, or there's no legal, whatever, it's just on a couple of plans, old plans. We listed them on there. And there's no dimension or anything, and usually if it's an old road like that, what we did is just throw 2 rods, because they were always, you know, when they created the roads, there were always 2 rods, which is 33 feet. That's why we put it on there. But our actual deed goes up to this line, and somebody may have rights to walk down that path, so we just put it on there.
Bob Harvey's old house?
Huh?
Bob Harvey's old house?
Yes.
Did he move?
I don't know, somebody bought it, so
Okay.
they're
must have moved.
subdivided.
There was no one in there today?
Huh?
There was no one living there today?
No, they're gonna cut it off, I guess, redo the house and build another one on this lot, and then they're gonna keep the remaining parcel here
Yep. Excuse me.
for future. So, but that's basically what it is. It has the proper frontage and area, and this we labeled as not a buildable lot because it's done the way it stands right now.
So is this a division of property, or?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's creating this lot,
Not just
lot
a-
1 and lot 2.
Yep.
Subdividing it.
There is a sign for that Old County Road, just stuck in the ground way down. Is it, I don't know if that's a legitimate, like, town sign or not, but,
I
might be
don't think
just
it
something
is,
that,
but it is, there's 2 plans that they did the research. There are 2 plans that show it, but they give no description or anything, all they do
Down where
is
they
just show
come
it.
together.
right down here, yeah, like,
Yep.
That's a wicked
I've
old
seen it,
road.
yeah.
Yes, it is, it's gotta be way up there.
Wicked old county road. I'll
Older
entertain a
than
motion.
motion to approve?
Certified, yeah.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, we can go, you're done.
What's that?
You're done now, guys, you can go watch the
Yeah,
game.
now those are 2 lots.
I hope so.
Kathy,
Two
$200,
lots.
2 lots.
You just want the Mylar though, right?
That's all I
I'll take
want,
these.
Mylar.
Scribble on 'em.
Is that what he,
I can handle it. Oh, actually Kathy was looking for this one.
Oh. What's that? All done? All done. 4.
Well, let me have one.
What's that?
Well, let me have one.
Oh, that's why you need one more of those, if you're using mine.
You know, in California, they charge developers a lot more money than do everything.
Other towns, they charge a lot more money.
They sure do.
In Massachusetts.
Yeah, is that right?
Yes. we
Because
do.
I think our fees should be raised, but good heavens.
Just
That would
to-
be an unpopular comment, I'm sure.
I don't know what you charge, just to perk a lot in some towns, even Middleborough, just to do a perk test on a lot, $450.
How
How much?
$450.
Really?
Just for the,
And you have to do all the work.
yeah, it's basically it.
Yeah.
No, it's,
You just collect the check.
yeah, it cracked me up, you talking about the marijuana thing. You should see all the problems, you're aware of all the problems that Wareham has with their selling facility.
Yeah.
They have to bus people in.
Well, see,
I've
that's
heard
what I
come to an
wanted.
end.
What?
I heard that they, well, they still have it in place, but that the activities died down so much that they haven't had.
They're busing them up there and.
You have to make an
and now-
appointment and
Oh,
you
yeah.
get bussed from
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
parking spot and so forth, but it's just I heard the
think they
volume.
restricted the.
Well, you see, that's what we were saying when we were to be the permit granting
Yeah.
authority. And, I got some information that, other people are a little bit more, lenient on what the requirements will need to be
Yeah.
for the facilities, and,
Thank you.
and, is that? Because we, I don't, it affects me when people come to me and say, why did you let that happen in town? You know what I mean? And,
You have no control.
I do have control over what I have control over.
Yes, but if
You
you.
know, and I've been saying since day one, they should have, if they do go to, and they're going to go to recreational marijuana distribution.
Yes.
You know, that they
It's
should
coming.
have them bust in, and they should have it at appointment, so you don't have 40,000 people driving down the road. Because when we went to the public hearing in here on whether we should even allow it or not, there were people that were up in arms about it, you know?
Yeah.
And we wanted to zone, give the town the opportunity to zone it out, and, we were overridden.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
All right. Uh-huh.
It's been enjoyable.
It always is, isn't it?
Just don't schedule me when you have another one of these.
Sorry.
You're just filling in though, right? You don't usually do this, right?
No, I very rarely do. Right. It's just.
Nice to see you though.
Yeah. Everybody's got.
That's like the,
tonight, so they said,
the court,
I gotta go.
to make the meat moves.
Yeah.
So you know you're not. like,
Gotta
waiting
keep paying your dues.
But if I.
Gotta keep paying your dues.
Right over if you need to.
I paid it a long time ago.
Yeah, I know.
Were you on ZBA?
No,
You're just on ZBRA, the review?
Correct.
Okay. Because Janice used to be on ZBA.
She still
Well,
is.
you're on master plan.
Yeah. You wanna do it?
Can't do any more right now.
These are all done?
Okay.
Nope.
I sort of, I enjoy it.
I must be
because
missing
there's a lot of
something.
I know a lot more about this town than
Yeah.
almost
Yeah,
anybody.
they went this way.
I love master.
I know a lot of stuff.
It's really
Good to see you.
interesting. I'll come to one of these.
Yeah, it's fun.
when I did it 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It was my favorite thing. I love it. It's great.
There's three of
So
them.
this is a Board of Appeals petition. I make a motion that we forward with no comment. As we always do.
Someone gonna second that?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Minutes for December. Twenty-seventh.
Just trying to find them.
Still one for the Crooked Lane,
What?
the Crooked Lane one.
Only got 4 of those.
There's only 4.
This is really long. I haven't read these.
I read them online now. Brian, motion to approve the meeting minutes from December 27th and January 10th.
Okay.
You read them all.
Someone wants to second that.
I'll second it.
They're looking for one more Crooked Lane.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Awesome.
What about you saying, just because I wasn't on the board at that point?
Well, maybe,
Certainly.
Good call.
That's a good call.
no. Yes.
Yeah.
That still counts
Sure
as an
enough.
aye, though.
We found it. Trying to defeat it.
Never
I
mind.
know, I know.
Up to zinc again.
Okay, old business. Board of Selectmen letter.
Those lots are gonna be big.
What?
Those lots are gonna be big dollars.
Are you looking at those solar panels?
Well, I don't know. I mean,
Just for your information, that letter
Are they
was
that
sent to
bad to look
the
at?
Board of
I don't know.
Selectmen. That's
Okay.
what
What I'd
we
really like to
requested.
do is this not be an A&R.
Which we
So
had
I
to do.
could
Yeah.
We had to do it. And
Get
we've done it
them
in years past,
to
and
run
it
a
doesn't
pipe
mean that we're gonna get an
or water
$80,000
main.
expenditure.
No.
on the street.
And they're
It
also,
could've been done. You know,
when I
if-
was,
if-
I
if
had a
we were to have
conversation
that
with
pharmacy.
Nate where he
Because,
asked
you
what
know,
resources might be available at Serpide. I won't know. I guess I could send an email to see what kind of resources are available, but if
And
there are
there's-
some
there's-
less expensive options, we would like some help.
did, does everyone have a copy of the January 10th minutes, and did they wanna vote on them?
I think we did. We did both.
Did we do 10th or just the 27th? Oh, okay.
We did both.
My bad.
Discuss membership in American Planning Association.
It's the modified site plan is
Yeah.
Is
next.
the next one? Old business. Why am I not on this? Oh, because we added this in, I'm sorry.
They just widened the entrance.
They want to, yes. That's gonna, they're gonna have to go to, Mass Highway for that. Because Mass Highway controls the curb cuts on,
Yep.
the road. And this is something that the fire department wanted because, the way it sits right now,
I recall, and I read his notes in the letter that came with this.
yep,
That, it was for emergency exits,
right.
or a major exit in case of emergency. What was the width of the first driveway? 22 feet? I think it was 26 or 24.
24.
I think it was pretty standard.
Yeah, existing conditions plan. Yeah? It's the old driveway. It's a new driveway. Well, you
There you
almost
go.
doubled it, you know?
Oh, I know where my letter is.
Which is awesome. I got a call from, the deputy chief today. And the selectman wanted him to come in And I said that he didn't have to come in. You know? Because he was working during the day today, and I don't think he would, you know? No, so he's probably getting up early and,
We need him well rested and prepared.
yep, absolutely. And, I said that he didn't have to worry about it, and then we'd take care of it. But I think we have to, I agree with it. Now, is this our only site plan review on this project?
Are you talking about the hospital or this particular lot?
This lot.
This lot is not under the, is done under the underlying zoning.
Yeah.
And it's the only site plan we'll do on this lot. But it has nothing to do with the mixed-use development
Right.
overlay.
Right. Typically, engineers come in for site plan review, whether it's underlying, overlying.
Yeah. Well, this is the one we
Well,
did.
we already did this.
We already did this.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't sign it, we passed it pending
Right.
the engineer's discussion with the fire chief.
So
which
that plan should have
generated
those
this amendment.
modifications on it.
Brian, I don't have any, where the fire chief sent us a letter saying, that these changes are, he's in agreement with.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem making a motion to sign this tonight.
I'll second that. I absolutely agree.
Excellent. Having a motion in a second, I'd like to call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And we don't have a Mylar on these, we're just gonna sign the
No,
packet.
it's just the plan.
Yes.
And it's a very nice set of plans.
Yes, it is.
But I don't understand why they
The,
would have been burdened with
What I
septic.
did,
Yeah, I don't know.
I went through all the street,
think
the
the
roads
road
back there because I'm retired.
It's not the cost of.
And all the
Oh,
roads
that's
in the
a fair
hospital.
It's an entrance
And
and
I don't
then
think,
50 feet over another entrance probably would.
I don't think the roads that are there are going to affect
That's a
any
fair point.
plans for the redeveloping the rest of
Only
the
the
thing.
cover
I don't think
page
they-
and the multiple
All of them.
stages.
They all
It's a
have,
nice
yeah, I'm
path.
sorry.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not attached to any, particularly to anything, they're all
Right.
very narrow.
It's hodgepodge.
It-
Yeah.
And there's no drainage system.
Yeah.
There's no drainage system at all.
Right.
So you'd have to dig it up just to put the pipes in.
Yep.
So,
So we're gonna have the whole thing brought to us.
oh, yeah, this, it's just,
Last one. I think we still need,
We need to sign this one?
it would be nice to visit
Only the top page?
his site, but it's not to look at the roads.
right.
Only one copy though.
No, all of them.
You're joking.
I'm not.
Every page, every copy.
I think you could sell the curb.
What's that?
I think you could sell the curbs.
Sell what?
Sell the curbs.
Here, start signing,
Yeah.
Nick.
Oh,
They're that nice, so.
I just think, yeah, I know Barbara thinks. I'll take
Every
it.
page, every copy.
What?
No, I don't think we have to sign every copy. We have to sign one for them to bring to the, they're gonna get all these back?
No, she's just was gonna take the one back. I mean,
Yeah.
I can ask her if she can copy it.
So we wanna sign?
No, we can sign every one on the one she takes back. On the ones that the town keeps, we're just gonna sign the top copy.
Okay.
Right?
No, all of them or one? All of them.
All of them on the front.
Okay.
I'll let you date it because I'm not
Okay.
gonna screw up again.
So we're gonna sign every page on one of them?
Yes, on that one that you're doing now. You started a
They
trend.
started moving the signatures on.
Yeah. SF and G does that. They put it where it's good for them. It's funny, Senator Fitzgerald and Gilbert, they all used to work for Brant Howarth. Remember Brant?
That's SEA.
SEA.
Is that
Oh,
Prime?
I said
That's the Sylvia guy that came in,
That's Sylvia. Oh, okay.
but I knew Bill Senna
Yeah.
pretty well.
I thought it was SFNG when I looked at it. SEA, yeah. This guy's over in North Middleborough, right? Bridgewater.
Did you find the other copy?
I did, I think that was it.
Did you sign this one twice?
Whoops. That's why there's not enough spots now.
That's all right.
Can you, it was down to Barbara.
You got
It was
it.
on sign.
You want to fill the water? I want to get blamed for breaking it. For breaking what? Oh, yeah.
Did you sign, one of them signed twice.
Yeah,
We won't say who the guilty partner is. Yeah, we need to have Brian has to sign that one.
Can I ask Kathy a question?
Making sure I didn't
While you're
sign it
folding,
twice.
You didn't sign it twice. It was good.
have you heard from
That one's done.
Roan Barber? How's
Yes,
that situation?
He did bring in some pictures and different things that he had done to answer to the requests that had been made of him. And
Yeah.
I gave it to Rita, and she had given it to Franklin, and I guess he was going to
Franklin, okay,
contact the
okay,
engineer, and,
okay. He was gonna contact,
because I think it had to be re-inspected, so,
That's a good question, then, because TikTok, you know?
yeah,
so I can check with her
Yeah.
again tomorrow. Myself a note here.
he already had a penalty, a time penalty.
Which one is this? Which subdivision?
The what?
It's a subdivision acceptance?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
really
the
important. because we have
road
to-
acceptance.
We need that for
Somebody
town
signed
meeting,
it
right?
For a very, yes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
Good thing to follow.
Twice the approval. You only really need 3, right?
Yeah.
I have a list of all those that I keep
You
up.
do?
But it didn't have a way of, you know, like getting them into.
Looks
the
like they've had a
system
lot of water
because
problems at
there's
Fuller
too
Shores from
many
those
people in
minutes
the
and meetings
office.
Yep.
over the years.
Suppose I gave it to the wrong person. What if I gave it
That's
to the wrong
before the
person?
subdivision went in.
Right?
I would have shut it down.
Issues.
One of
I
those
don't-
issues.
What?
I don't want to say.
So I just use them myself.
Say it afterwards.
Yeah, that's what I want to do.
But
Right.
that's one of the, you know, along with equestrian way and stuff like that. And other ones that people haven't paid the second.
Can I sign next to one of yours, Peter?
course,
Yeah.
And
All
my street is way worse as far as puddles. There are
You know what?
plenty
I'm
of
gonna
streets.
call you next time.
There
You know,
are
my
a
house-
lot of
you can't
streets in
even drive
Lakeville.
through my street.
What?
That's why I talk about the culverts all the time. I'm worried about it. Because we have more water, with more climate change, we're gonna have more water.
Well, this is, so we made a step in the right direction today with the 43 hundred foot. We're gonna, those other site plans are mostly going to be for getting the water not into the street. You know,
It's crucial.
That issue alone, there's a pump on School Street, it's a terrible example.
Did you see
Or
that?
has he fixed it?
They, well,
Can all these
he
things
took
just
it
be done in the right
Oh,
journal?
geez.
Or do they have to be done during the open meeting?
No, we can finish up, we're almost done.
Yeah, we're almost
I
done
think he's.
with this.
So Kathy must add this one in.
We're still recording.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any other business,
Suggest this, or
Mr.
was
Chair?
this Kathy?
I think we got
Did
this
you
right here.
suggest this, or was this Kathy? Getting a membership? for
That's-
this?
Kathy, that's Kathy.
It's
That's me. I've just been trying to do some research,
Yeah.
because the longer I work for this board, the more confusing and complex it's getting. So I had checked with someone who does all the administrative for Concom, and there's like a Concom organization, so I assumed there has to be one for planning. So this is the one that I found. I think it would be great to give you a lot of resources and information. I mean, I just copied up the website if you wanted to go take a look at it and see if you think it would be something that would be helpful. I You can join it individually or as a board.
There is a tremendous amount of resources, I think, Zink, you had turned us on to, at least you told me about it when I first came on board, with the Commonwealth, where people would have discussions and so forth. Does Kathy have that? Access to that?
Yes, some of them, yeah, the plan, the
So if you wanted to ask a
CPTC.
question,
Yeah.
you can go on and ask a
Yeah,
question.
there's one more that happens the first week in June up in Fort Devens, which is just a housing one where,
Yeah, that one.
Chapa's up there.
Someone
and,
should go to that.
That's a,
We need to be, this is, the governor's gonna change some stuff. Really gotta pay attention to that. That's gonna be a big deal.
What's he changing?
The housing, getting into more affordable housing, they're gonna blow by it. You don't, it's a big deal.
I know it's a big deal.
High density,
Yep,
yep,
yep.
okay, and, yep. So when was that, Zink? You said it was
the
at Fort
first week,
Devens?
First week in June. I just
First week.
got
Are you
the
going, are you
notice.
signed up to go?
No. No, it's, well,
I would be interested in going, but I really don't wanna go by myself. But
it's a stayover.
you have to stay over?
No,
Okay.
no, it's a 2-day thing.
It is?
Yeah,
Okay.
but the first day is the important day.
Is it during the week?
No.
Okay, because I'm not.
Oh, wait a minute.
I'm not going
I
off.
think it might be, yeah. I don't know.
I think,
Because I have a job to go to.
Yeah, right.
No, there was, the last one I went there for a particular program being put on by a particular person, and it was very, very valuable. But I don't see the same one up again, where it was, if you wanted to do your own 40B as a town, how you do the budgeting for it, and how you price the thing out. And I thought that was real neat, but I don't think Lakeville's going to do
a
that.
town-owned 40B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could
Just
almost,
like a town-owned, over 55.
And you
Which
lease
is a
them or
housing
rent them?
authority.
Either.
Either one would be, yeah, that's right,
Yeah.
either one would be a housing authority, right?
Right, it's absolutely housing authority,
Yeah.
yeah. You'd have to have it, yeah.
You would need a board and
Yeah,
people that.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
It would be a whole sea change for us here in Lakeville.
yeah, we don't have,
Yeah. It would be yeah.
which I'll have to bring in some recent articles from the Governor Baker's, things he's talking about, things that they've been sharing with us at Serpide, which are very clearly, they're, actually, I don't even know if Serpide's where I got the last one.
gonna be very clearly burdensome.
They're gonna they're gonna override zoning
Yeah.
to get the affordable housing in, because they need it in.
That's what 40B is, it's overriding.
Well, no,
Yeah,
this
but
is-
this is gonna be
They keep trying.
higher density.
They keep trying again and again to get one in, and it hasn't been voted yet. But they hate this idea of a 2/3 zoning, a 2/3 town meeting vote to have zoning changes.
Oh, they wanna blow them through.
They want to have plain thing, so.
Oh,
but
no, they wanna, what do you call it, streamline?
That's
They
streamlining,
wanna
yes.
streamline
Well,
it.
it'll go a lot faster if.
Yeah, like grease through a goose.
It's a
well,
very complicated
51%
issue, we
is a
need more
lot easier,
housing.
yeah.
We just do, we need more
Uh,
housing.
But
What?
they've been doing that now over the years.
We don't need more
And
housing.
it's not really new
That means more
anymore.
people, that means more
They're here anyway.
traffic, that
They're
means
here.
they're in other places, they're not here.
Do we need a motion for this? Or is that just something we announce?
Nope, I think we're all set.
We do.
Kathy, thank you very much for this.
Do we
I'm
want to
gonna read through it.
subscribe, or did you have a cost for this? Is this
Cost
something
is on
you
the
would
back
use?
page.
Like I said, that's
not very
probably your
much.
choice. If you think it would be worth it, I feel for myself, I would definitely want it, to
Yeah.
try to educate myself.
You would, so you feel that you would benefit from this?
I definitely think I would.
Would
benefit
anybody
from it.
else feel it would benefit from this? Or do you want to look into it further?
I would like to read it when it comes,
Okay.
I support it
I
completely.
mean, is it something that we just get emails, or is it something we have to go to a class on the other side of the
I
world?
think it's like a publication.
I think Conservation also doesn't have a budget, but we're all members of MACC.
Right, that's what I was
So I don't know if we could all become members of this with this, we don't have a budget, but mysteriously, the money could become
We do
appointed.
have like agency fees that we could use for this year.
Right.
But then like you're tracking your expenses now, so then next year you might want to put it into
It's an actual part
memberships
of a
and
budget.
dues, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't think we need to pony up out of our own pockets.
No,
Can you sign us up?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. You two, you and us, 5?
Yep.
Okay. Excellent. That way you have a source.
Do you need us to fill out the back page? So you have, it looks like it's mailing address, not email. Or can we get it
Is
by
it
email?
electronic? That's why we have to all have it.
You know,
Oh, there is-
Email's
there is
the one with
email
the
required.
asterisk. Email's the one.
So
with
you
the
you just
asterisk that they
need name and email, so you have that.
Yeah, I'll look at it
Electronic.
and do it at a
Yeah, it's just a little thing. and
Why don't we
When
just
it's
get one
Email's the
right
only thing
outside?
required.
Am I too cheap?
Yeah.
Am I too cheap to
And
suggest we
illegal.
get one? Oh, it is? Okay.
Probably.
If
Then
it's
never mind.
email, it's just
Never mind.
done. Would you entertain a motion to adjourn, Mr. Chair?
I most certainly would.
I make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Did it even get seconded?
You beat him to it.
Yeah. I had to get fast before he said we were.